Hello, everyone. On this podcast episode, I'm going to talk about conspiracy theories and why, you know, what you need to be careful of, with conspiracy theories. So let's get started. Um, many of you have heard about conspiracy theories before, right? You've heard about many different conspiracies. I, someone who's spent my entire life, doing research on all the different conspiracies. I've come across a lot of conspiracy theories. I'll share a few of them with you, but do not believe these conspiracy theories. They're just conspiracies. In this world, there are good people and there are bad people. Every group, every group has its good sides and bad sides. The government, they're good governments, they're bad governments. Celebrities, they're good celebrities, they're bad celebrities. Rich folks, they're good rich people, bad rich people. Poor folks, they're good poor people and bad poor people. They're good blacks, they're bad blacks. They're good whites, they're bad whites. They're good Asians, they're bad Asians. They're good Latinos, they're bad Latinos. There's good Middle Eastern, they're bad Middle Eastern. Every group, every group you can think of has good people within them and also bad people. So do not let these conspiracy theories, trick you into thinking, one group of people is just filled with bad, they're all just bad. It's usually a lie. So let me get started with one of the conspiracies. One of the conspiracy theories that I've heard is about a guy named Palm Beach Pete. That's his name. And it's a recent conspiracy theory. Many people are saying that Jeffrey Epstein and Mr. Palm Beach Pete, right? I don't know whether it's short for Peter or something like that, but it's Pete, Pete. That's his name, and he goes by Palm Beach Pete. And people say they look alike, And I've seen the image of Jeffrey Epstein and that guy, Mr. Pete, and these guys do not look alike. They share a resemblance, but the resemblance is so far. It's like two different people. They don't look alike in any way, shape, or form. If you don't follow the conspiracy theory that they look alike, if you don't believe the conspiracy theory, when you look at these two images, you can just tell these are two different people. And since they look like two different people, you have to ask yourself, why would Jeffrey Epstein, right, use plastic surgery to look like someone that looks like him? Why would Jeffrey Epstein, if Jeffrey Epstein wants to, do plastic surgery, right? Because they don't really look alike that much. Since they don't look alike that much, the only reason you can say Palm Beach Pete is Jeffrey Epstein is if what? If Jeffrey Epstein actually went, did some sort of plastic surgery to make himself look like Palm Beach Pete. And if, Jeffrey Epstein, wasted all his money, why would he waste his money to look like himself? Why would he spend all that time and energy, all that surgery, all that, you go through all that pain, all that, all that recovery pain, just to look like someone who looks slightly like him? Don't you think if Jeffrey Epstein wants to, take plastic, do plastic surgery, it would look like a younger version of himself, or at least a younger, person that doesn't look like him at all? Yes, you can use plastic surgery to, reconstruct your face. It's possible to make yourself look like someone else. Are you sure Jeffrey Epstein, if he's alive? And this is also another conspiracy theory, that Jeffrey Epstein is alive. Are you sure if Jeffrey Epstein is alive, that he won't, just use the plastic, get plastic surgery and look like someone else? He has a lot of money. It's easy for him to do it because he has a lot of money. So why would he look like himself? Why would he look like someone who can be confused as him? So obviously, it doesn't really make sense. If you look at the picture of the two of them, you can tell they look nothing alike. They don't look alike that much. But many people, there are many people on the internet, there are many videos of people constantly saying that, that's Jeffrey Epstein. The other conspiracy theory that I've mentioned this conspiracy theory before, is about Queen Elizabeth being a shape shifting person from millions of years ago. She goes from bodies to bodies and is still alive till this day. You know, that's one of the conspiracy theories that I've read before. The other conspiracy theories that the ones about aliens. We've all heard about aliens. Then there's the 9/11 conspiracy theory. There's the flat Earth conspiracy theory, and the flat Earth conspiracy theory is about the Earth is flat, and they can prove even though they can't prove that the Earth is flat because they say so. You know, then the 9/11 conspiracy theory is that 9/11 was an inside job. 9/11 was an inside job, and the twin towers were bombed from the inside. You know, so that's the other conspiracy theory. And there are many other conspiracy theories. One of the conspiracy theories that I've read in the past and I've listened to in the past, heard of in the past, is that all celebrities are part of some sort of secret gay cabal. They're part of some sort of secret group or secret society where everyone is gay and they eat people. Every single celebrity, you know, every single one. That means you as a normal person, if you ever date a celebrity, people will automatically assume you're part. These conspiracy theories will automatically assume you're part of that gay club, that gay group. You know, and then there's the government conspiracy theories that the government was designed to kill and eat people. The government is planning a future mass murder of its own citizens. The United States government is planning a future mass murder of all its citizens, and we have to be careful of it. There's also that conspiracy. There's so many conspiracies out there, and the reason why I believe these conspiracies are so the reason why this conspiracy draws you in as a person is because many people do not believe that people will just come out and lie. Why would people lie about this? That's what usually baffles people. When you hear about a conspiracy, right, and you see all the people talking about it, it makes you wonder why would they lie? Why would people come on the internet and lie? That's the reason. That's one of the reasons why you just automatically believe these conspiracy theories, is that they're so detailed. It makes you start wondering, something so detailed. Why would someone spend all that time and energy creating such a large, elaborate theory? Doesn't that mean there's some truth to it? If they, if they create such a large, elaborate theory, it doesn't that mean they're probably telling the truth because they're spending so much energy creating it? And especially, there's a conspiracy theory called atheism. They can't prove that God doesn't exist. Because they can't prove that God doesn't exist, they don't have no. It automatically means it's a conspiracy. If you can't prove something and you believe it, that's a conspiracy. So there's all these conspiracies, because they're so detailed. It just makes you wonder. Isn't that doesn't that mean these guys are telling the truth because it's detailed? Well, the truth is, you shouldn't be asking yourself the question, why would they lie? You should ask yourself when you see a conspiracy theory, right? And if you ever hear of a conspiracy theory, right? Instead of believing it, you should ask yourself the question, why should people tell the truth? You shouldn't ask the question, why should these people, these conspiracy theorists, why should they lie? You should ask yourself the question, why should they tell the truth? That's the question you need to ask. You assume someone has, you make the assumption that people are truthful by default, when the truth is that's just your assumption. No one has to tell you the truth in anything. There's no obligation for a single human being to tell you the truth. They tell you the truth just because they want to. So instead of asking why should they lie, you should ask the question, why should they tell the truth? What's in it for them to tell you the truth? What do they gain by telling you the truth? What's beneficial for them? If they gain no benefit in telling the truth, why should they tell the truth? And that's something you need to think about. Why should when someone opens their mouth and talk to you about anything, right? You should always ask that question. Ask that question to yourself. The moment you start doubting their words, you should ask yourself the question: why should they tell the truth? What do they gain by telling the truth? And let me tell you what they gain by telling a lie. If you ask yourself the question, why should they lie? Let me give you a benefit. One of the benefits of lying. If you're a good, conspiracy theorist, right? If you're pretty good at, creating conspiracies, if you can get a fan base, if you find a good conspiracy that, you can create a good lie about, right? You can create your own website, write a book, create your own website, or you can just write a book and, put it on Amazon and then pay for ads for that book. And now slowly but surely you build a fan base. Slowly but surely you start making money from your conspiracies. If you have a website, talk about the conspiracy theories on the website and then charge people monthly, fees for it, like a subscription fee, ask them for donations. There's so many ways to make money as long as you have an audience. Just like a regular business can make money from their audience, you can make money from your audience as well. There are many people who just like fame, and they'll do anything to get fame. They don't really care what type of fame they get. They just want fame. If you're someone who just wants fame, create a conspiracy theory. Become the spokesperson of that conspiracy theory. And then, market yourself, just pay for, $10, $20 a day, advertisements, ads on Google, Facebook, whatever platform you want to use, do. Pay for ads. Now everyone knows you as that person that talks about this conspiracy theory. Now you'll be, slowly but surely, you build your own fan base of conspiracy theorists. And you become a famous person. This is how you get fame. It's infamy, but it doesn't really matter to many people. Many people do not care whether it's they get famous or they get infamous. To them, it's the same thing. But the truth is, it's not. But let's talk about the conspiracy theories right now. There's so many ways to make money from a conspiracy theory. There's so many gullible people out there that will automatically believe that you're telling the truth. Because there's so many gullible people out there. You can create courses talking about your conspiracy theory. You can write books. You can write articles. You can create programs. You can create seminars that people have to pay money for. You can write, you can create, what do you call those things? Mugs, t-shirts, any of these other memorabilias, you can market to these, to your audience. The people that believe your conspiracy theory, you can market products to them and make a lot of money from it. Conspiracy theorists can make a lot of money from a conspiracy. So if they can make a lot of money from a conspiracy, why should they tell the truth? If an atheist can make so much money being an atheist, why should he come out and tell the truth? There's no reason for him to tell the truth. This is why I tell you, when you see a conspiracy theorist, right? Or you see a conspiracy theory, you should ask yourself, why should they tell the truth? What do they gain by telling the truth when there's so many benefits in lying? When there's so many benefits in doing evil, why should you do good? That's the mindset of this world. When there's so many benefits in lying, in stealing from people, in tricking people, in manipulating people, why should you tell the truth? And that's how this world works. It's easy to sin. It's hard to do good. It's easy to scam people. It's hard to be a truthful person. It's easy to manipulate others. It's hard to be an honest person. So all these conspiracy theories, there's a reason why they're so plentiful. It's because there are a lot of people making money from them. All these conspiracy theories about aliens, there are people making money from it. It's because there are people making money from it. These people will never want these conspiracy theories to end. They will always create, if one conspiracy theory ends, another will take its place. Because people make too much money from these things. There are too many gullible people out there. And sometimes Sometimes it's not their fault. You can't blame the gullible people for believing. Because some of these are children, 15, 10 years old, 10 to 20 years old. They don't know what's going on with the world. They don't have that much information about the world. So for them to be cautious of these conspiracy theories, they don't have that much information about the world. Because they don't have that much information about the world, it's easy to brainwash them into believing these conspiracies. It's as long as the conspiracy theory is detailed enough, as long as it makes some sort of sense. It doesn't have to be logical, but as long as you can make it make sense to them, that's all they need. That's all you need. You need to brainwash someone. And once you can brainwash them, they become your loyal fans. You can create a loyal fan base of conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theorists. And once you get that loyal fan base, you start marketing to them. You beg them for donations. You beg them for gifts. You beg them for this. You beg them for that. You can write a book. You can write a book. You can tell stories. You can do whatever you want. You can even create seminars. You can just beg them for whatever you want. There's so many ways to make money from an audience. So many ways to make money from an audience. But you just have to find that audience. And the best way, the easiest way is to just create a conspiracy theory. There are already so many conspiracy theories out there. Just create one, There are already so many conspiracy theories out there. Means there's already so many, people, potential customers for a conspiracy theorist to market to. So you just follow, so a conspiracy theorist, if he wants to make money, just look for one of these conspiracy theories and then just, latch onto one of them. One of them that you can make enough believable lies to. Just start writing a book, do whatever you want to do to make it look believable. And then, you just start selling it. I pay for ads, make YouTube videos, make TikTok videos, do whatever you want to do. But it's so easy to make money from, gullible people. And sometimes they're not just gullible. Sometimes it's just lack of information. They don't have enough information about the world. They don't have enough information about, the subject. So they just accept that, you're not lying to them. In their mindset, why should you lie? It makes no logical sense for you to lie. Because they believe there's no logical sense for you to lie. They automatically believe that you're telling the truth. Without realizing that. The reason why they can't see the reason, they can't see the reason why, you lie, because they don't know, it doesn't cross their mind that you can make money from this. It doesn't cross their mind you can make money from being a conspiracy theorist. Creating a conspiracy theory can make you a lot of money. It doesn't matter whether the conspiracy theory is true or not. Many people do not look for evidence. They don't care about evidence. As long as you make it sound believable enough, that's all they care about. As long as you look trustworthy enough, that's all they care about. So you can create as many conspiracy theories as you want and make a lot of money from people, rich and poor. If you target the rich, you make a lot more money because they have a lot more money to give you. Trick them into donating all their life savings. Trick them into doing X or Y, paying for extremely expensive courses. And you take all their money from them. Just from a conspiracy theory that isn't true. This is the power of conspiracy theories. It can make a lot of people rich. It can make a lot of people millionaires. These scams can make a lot of people rich overnight. You'll turn a broke person who's barely making minimum wage into a millionaire, into a multi-millionaire within a few years. All they have to do is pay for some advertisements and lie a lot. Make some YouTube videos, make some TikTok videos, create some articles online, and then ask for donations, beg and beg and beg and beg, their audience for money. And the audience will give them money. Find different ways to trick the audience out of their paycheck, out of their hard-earned money, and they'll make a lot of money. So when you can make so much money from a conspiracy theory, why should you tell the truth? If you can get rich from a conspiracy theory, why should you tell the truth? Why should the conspiracy theorists tell the truth when they can make so much money from it? There's no reason for them, right? There's no reason. I know you say, oh, they'll go to jail. You can report them. And that's the beauty of conspiracy theories is that Some of these conspiracy theories are hard to prove, wrong, because it's hard to prove wrong. You can't say they're scamming you. Some of these conspiracy theories are actually very good at scamming you by asking for donations. If you donate to someone, people don't see it as a scam. You give them money, out of kindness. So even if they tricked you, even if the only reason why you give them money is because of the conspiracy theory, the government may not consider it a scam, even though it's technically a scam. But that's how life works. Be careful of conspiracy theories, because just know behind all these conspiracy theories is someone making a lot of money behind your back. There are too many people making money. A conspiracy theory is a good business to create. If you can create a good conspiracy theory, you can create a good business behind it and make a lot of money. So be careful in the future. If you're someone who's like me, who likes looking at these conspiracy theories, is that there's no reason for them to tell you the truth. If there's no reason for them to tell you the truth, why should they tell you the truth? You should always ask yourself that question. Why should they tell you the truth when it's easier for them to lie? If it's better for them to lie, why should they tell you the truth? So that's it for today's podcast. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.